Bugatti has unveiled its next-generation hypercar, the Tourbillon, which is not another derivative of the Bugatti Chiron.
Bugatti just dropped the Tourbillon, a $4 million marvel meant to rewrite the rules of hypercar engineering. But instead of being compared with other supercars, it's sparking debates alongside a single Chiron, wrecked, written off, and then painstakingly rebuilt by a YouTuber in a makeshift garage. What does that say about the mystique and reality behind Bugatti's pricing and craftsmanship? Can a broken Chiron brought back to life in a garage truly challenge a brand new multi-million-dollar Tourbillon? Introducing the $4 million Tourbillon. Bugatti's new Tourbillon isn't just another hypercar. It's the company's bold statement that redefines what a roadworthy supermachine can be. Priced at $4 million, this car marks the end of the Chiron's reign and ushers in a radically new era, built from the ground up without sharing a single part with its predecessor. That's almost unheard of in an industry where platform sharing is so common, even among luxury brands. The Tourbillon promises to reset expectations with an emphasis on bespoke craftsmanship and performance. At the heart of the Tourbillon is a naturally aspirated 8.3-liter V16 engine co-developed with Cosworth, a legendary Allied name known for Formula One excellence. This engine drops the turbochargers used previously on the W16-powered Veyron and Chiron, relying instead on pure revving power that screams to an unbelievable 9,000 rotations per minute. With 3 electric motors adding 800 horsepower, the combined output reaches 1,800 horsepower, power enabling blistering acceleration and a top speed over 277 miles per hour. What truly separates the Tourbillon is its insistence on analog purity in a digital age. The instrument cluster, crafted by a Swiss watchmaker, remains fixed and perfectly readable as the steering wheel spins. The extensive use of titanium, sapphire, and ruby throughout the cockpit and center console underscores Bugatti's obsession with craftsmanship. For those who demand exclusivity, the Tourbillon will be limited to just 250 units, with most already sold before customer deliveries begin in 2026. This car isn't just about raw speed or technical prowess. It's selling an experience where every detail, from the crystal glass center console to the hand-stitched leather, is thoughtfully engineered and physically real, not just stylized. Bugatti's president, Christophe Piochon, emphasized, "What you see is what you get," hinting that unlike many luxury vehicles, there's no illusion in the high-end materials used. The manufacturer's Molsheim factory, with roots dating back over a century, is the birthplace of this mechanical marvel. While the Tourbillon's spec sheet reads like a dream, it's the story behind its creation, starting fresh, unburdened by legacy parts or aging platforms, that truly shapes expectations. It carries forward Bugatti's history of redefining extremes, but claims to do so without compromise or shortcut. Yet, as groundbreaking as this sounds, declaring no shared components with the Chiron draws an unavoidable and stirring comparison to the older model it replaces. Because while the Tourbillon is brand new, the Chiron still tells a story of its own. What exactly that story entails becomes clear when you consider what happened to a Chiron per sport wreck, rebuilt against all odds by one man in a garage. The contrast between a factory-new masterpiece and a reclaimed, rebuilt wreck breaks the usual mold for hypercar narratives and challenges assumptions about craftsmanship, exclusivity, and engineering worth. This tension sets the stage for an exploration of two very different legends under the Bugatti badge. The extraordinary comeback of the damaged Chiron shifts the spotlight from new to old to resilience and revelation. Matt Armstrong's Chiron rebuild. The story begins in Miami with a catastrophic crash. A Bugatti Chiron Pour Sport, one of only 60 ever produced, was declared a total loss after a severe front-end collision. The owner, content creator Alex Gonzalez, bought back the wreck from a salvage auction for nearly $2 million. an eye-watering price, but a fraction of the car's normal value, which ranges from $4 to $4.5 million. Instead of accepting its fate or sending it back to France, the decision was made to rebuild the car locally, introducing Matt Armstrong into the fold. Matt Armstrong is no ordinary mechanic. A former professional BMX rider turned British YouTube sensation, he's garnered nearly 10 million subscribers by performing what many consider impossible repairs and restorations on high-end exotics. His experience spans Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and other rare vehicles, but the Chiron was a different challenge altogether. Not only was the car severely damaged, but Bugatti itself had restricted official parts for that specific vehicle, effectively declaring it impossible to restore outside their factory. With airbags deployed, carbon fiber monocoque damaged, and gearbox housing shattered, the car's condition was dire. The insurance company's recommended repair estimate was staggering, $1.7 million, with the demand that the car be sent back to Bugatti's factory in Molsheim for restoration. Alex rejected both that and a secondary offer with reduced cost but identical conditions. Bugatti's refusal to allow parts distribution for this chassis left Matt and his father, Tony, a seasoned mechanic himself, to find resourceful, independent solutions. The result was a public, months-long rebuild filmed piece by piece in Matt's garage, with millions of viewers hooked on every setback and creative workaround. The project unfolded as both a mechanical puzzle and a defiant story of passion over corporate control, capturing the imagination of automotive enthusiasts globally. From makeshift supports to fabrication of unavailable parts, the rebuild became a testament to determination and expertise. Each stage of the process peeled back layers, usually hidden from customers and admirers, revealing the engineering realities behind a $4 million car. The dynamic presence of a challenging rebuild, met by determined craftsmanship, contrasted sharply with the polished, nearly flawless image Bugatti cultivates. This Chiron was not just returning from wreckage, it was redefining what's possible when passion meets precision outside the factory walls. Inspired by necessity, Matt's team adapted, fabricated, and substituted parts whenever the supply chain was blocked. Months later, defying all odds, the engine roared back to life. The unmistakable howl of the W16 resonated once again from a machine thought beyond salvation. This emotional moment marked one of the most unprecedented restorations in automotive history. But Matt's story isn't just about reviving a damaged car. It's about challenging assumptions on craftsmanship, ownership, and what it means to truly own a car when the manufacturer controls the entire ecosystem. His journey confronts the very idea that a vehicle's value depends solely on exclusivity and factory authority. As the Chiron roared to life, so did a broader conversation on automotive culture. The deeper inspection of the Chiron's components exposes surprising realities that challenge once-held beliefs about luxury and exclusivity. Hidden realities inside the Chiron. As Matt delved into the Chiron's innards, what he uncovered was far from the exclusive, handcrafted perfection Bugatti's image suggests. Checking part numbers revealed that many components were shared across the Volkswagen Group family. The airbags, knee, passenger, and even steering wheel matched parts used in far more common and drastically cheaper cars, including the Audi A3 and Aston Martin DB11. These airbags, identical by part number, are sold openly, with some costing less than $50 each. The accelerator pedal, expected to match the car's million-dollar performance capability, was made from molded plastic, the same type found in everyday cars like the Volkswagen Golf. While this might seem surprising at first, it reflects Bugatti's engineering philosophy. Function and reliability take precedence over bespoke material at certain points in the car. This deep parts sharing doesn't diminish safety or performance. On the contrary, it embraces proven components to maintain uncompromised standards, with Bugatti focusing their bespoke efforts where it truly matters. Still, this reality conflicts with the image of complete exclusivity and craftsman-level uniqueness that accompanies a multi-million-dollar price tag. Mate Rimac, Bugatti's CEO, weighed in on the discussion, addressing the differences in engineering around shared parts. He pointed out that even seemingly common components undergo recalibration and refinement specific to the Bugatti models, ensuring that safety and performance are uncompromised, especially under extreme conditions. These nuances highlight the complexity beyond a simple parts list. For Matt and his audience, these discoveries peeled back the curtain on the elaborate supply chain and badge engineering behind hypercars. The realization sparked heated debates. Does owning a $4 million hypercar mean every part must be unique? Or is relying on high-quality, mass-produced components acceptable within a larger masterpiece? This transparency also added context to the challenges Matt faced in rebuilding the wreck. The limited access to official Bugatti parts, combined with the underlying reality of shared components, fueled both his resourcefulness and the drama surrounding the rebuild. It led to a larger discussion about who controls a car's life once it leaves the factory. Beyond the parts, the way Bugatti had locked access to this specific Chiron's repair made the project a defiant act against corporate gatekeeping. Matt's efforts blurred the lines between factory exclusivity and grassroots determination, adding a new dimension to what it means to build, maintain, and even redefine automotive excellence. The new Tourbillon's engineering promises a complete break from this shared past, but the lessons of the Chiron rebuild linger powerfully among enthusiasts and critics alike. Bugatti's official response and limits. From the moment Matt Armstrong took on the challenge of restoring the wrecked Chiron Pour Sport, Bugatti's response was cautious and, in certain ways, restrictive. The manufacturer maintained that due to the severity of the damage, repairs could only be safely and reliably conducted at their factory in Molsheim, France. They emphasized the need for specialized equipment and training available at just 2 locations worldwide. This position wasn't merely about brand control, it reflected genuine safety concerns tied to the car's complex carbon fiber monocoque and intricate gearbox calibration. Bugatti's CEO, Mate Rimac, publicly raised issues regarding the monocoque's structural integrity, warning that cracks in the carbon fiber could go unnoticed yet cause catastrophic failure later. Rimac's concerns also extended to the gearbox's sophisticated requirements, which, according to him, could not be duplicated outside the factory with existing equipment. These statements underscored the risk involved in attempting a rebuild with non-factory tools, seeming to justify the restrictions imposed on Matt and effectively declaring the car beyond independent restoration. The company went further by locking down the VIN, preventing access to official parts for that specific vehicle. This meant no dealership or authorized service center worldwide could supply critical components, including airbags, brakes, and body parts. To many outside observers, this move appeared to be a form of corporate gatekeeping, turning a legal total loss into a near-impossible restoration mission. It sparked debate about customer rights and the balance between manufacturer control and owner autonomy. Despite Bugatti's restrictions, Matt and his father employed creativity and determination, sourcing what they could and fabricating the rest. Their initiative challenged the notion that only a factory rebuild could restore such a complex machine, setting a new precedent. Meanwhile, Rimac's concerns about safety remained valid, highlighting the tension between technical necessity and the spirit of independent craftsmanship. What emerged was a rare public confrontation between a boutique automaker and a renegade craftsman, played out on cameras and in forums watched by millions. This conflict wasn't the simple tale of corporate villain versus heroic garage mechanic many expected. Instead, it reflected the messy reality of ultra-exclusive car ownership, where responsibility, risk, and expertise intertwine in complex ways. Throughout the rebuild, Matt documented every challenge faced due to parts restrictions and technical hurdles, like splitting the chassis using unconventional methods rather than the factory's bespoke rig. These videos and updates demystified what many assumed was impossible and drew a large audience intent on seeing this underdog story unfold. Bugatti's engagement evolved too. Eventually, some restrictions were eased and parts blacklist lifted, showing a new willingness to accommodate the situation outside strict factory confines. This episode left a lasting question about the future. Can extreme automotive technology and exclusivity coexist with independent repair and ownership rights? The restrictions Bugatti imposed were founded on real engineering challenges, but Matt Armstrong's success suggested that with knowledge and ingenuity, the gap could be bridged. This issue now sits at the heart of debates about high-performance automotive culture. This leads us naturally to the defining divide between these two Bugattis, one grounded in an evolution of an existing platform and the other claiming a clean-sheet rebirth. The engineering divide between cars. The Tourbillon's clean-sheet philosophy marks a decisive break from the heritage platforms Bugatti has relied on for nearly 2 decades. Unlike its predecessor, the Chiron, which evolved the W16 engine and VW Group underpinnings, the Tourbillon introduces a wholly new carbon fiber chassis built with T800 composite materials and 3D-printed structural braces. This construction alone shaves about 45% of the weight compared to the Chiron, a critical gain in performance and agility. Central to the Tourbillon is the collaboration with Cosworth, whose pedigree in Formula One lends the naturally aspirated V16 engine high revving credibility and exclusivity. The removal of turbochargers and forced induction contrasts sharply with the Chiron's complex W16 turbo setup. Additionally, the integration of 3 electric motors, 2 at the front axle and 1 sandwiched between engine and gearbox, creates a hybrid system delivering a combined power output of 1,800 horsepower. The cockpit echoes this focus on bespoke design and extravagance. The instrument cluster is crafted by Concepto, a Swiss watchmaker known for horological instruments, rather than automotive component suppliers. The center console is machined from crystal glass and solid aluminum, matched with doors utilizing new dihedral hinges that swing out and up. The battery system operates at 800 volts, a specification not found in the older chassis, underlining the Tourbillon's technological leap. Bugatti's decision to ensure that no parts from the Chiron were carried over into the Tourbillon reflects a deliberate effort to redefine what its flagship hypercar should represent. Rather than building upon the previous model, the company started with a completely fresh vision centered on harmony between design, engineering, and manufacturing. While the Chiron incorporated certain components developed within the Volkswagen Group, the Tourbillon has been created as a truly bespoke masterpiece. Every material, system, and individual component has been carefully designed with a specific purpose, working together within a unified ecosystem to deliver exceptional performance, craftsmanship, innovation, and timeless automotive excellence. Yet, this ambitious clean slate approach is not without risks. Unlike the tested, if badge-shared components of the Chiron, the Tourbillon's parts have yet to be proven in independent rebuilds or repairs. It's a model selling exclusivity on design and materials to a degree not always demanded before. Whether this approach will hold up to the rigor of ownership and maintenance remains a question unanswered except by time and experience. The engineering divergence also reflects drastically differing philosophies about what buyers demand. The Chiron demonstrated that extraordinary performance could be achieved within the limits of shared parts and proven platforms, combining reliability with prestige. The Tourbillon pushes forward with the belief that at $4 million, clients want every nut, bolt, and panel to reflect the utmost exclusivity. As the Tourbillon sets a new standard, the debate kindled by Matt Armstrong's rebuild sharpens the questions we ask about value, exclusivity, and what it truly means to own a $4 million Bugatti. What defines value and exclusivity? When we talk about cars costing $4 million, it's easy to assume that every single part inside is crafted exclusively for that vehicle. Bugatti certainly sells this idea, positioning the Tourbillon as a masterpiece of bespoke engineering and materials where nothing is borrowed or shared. Yet, Matt Armstrong's rebuild of the Chiron pulls back the curtain on a more complicated reality, that even hypercars rely on parts from mass-produced vehicles, raising questions about what buyers are really paying for. Performance is undoubtedly part of the allure. The Tourbillon promises blistering acceleration, hitting 62 miles per hour in under 2 seconds, and a top speed creeping toward 277 miles per hour. The sound of a naturally aspirated V16 screaming to 9,000 revolutions per minute is utterly unique, something no badge engineering can replicate. That visceral, unfiltered driving experience forms one layer of what commands such a price tag. Then there's the craftsmanship surrounding the driving experience. The titanium instrument cluster designed by Swiss watchmakers, the crystal glass console, the hand-stitched interiors, and the fact that only 250 of these cars will ever exist. These details aren't just decorative. They represent tradition, artisanship, and exclusivity that separates Bugatti from almost every other brand. Here, the story melds engineering with art and heritage. But beneath those layers lies a tension between authenticity and illusion. Matt's discovery that the Chiron includes parts as common as Audi airbags and Volkswagen accelerator pedals pulls at the narrative of every component being elite and unique. It challenges buyers and enthusiasts to rethink what exclusivity means when some elements are shared across vastly different price brackets. Is exclusivity measured by every bolt or by the overall experience those parts help produce? Bugatti's response, embodied in the Tourbillon's clean sheet design, can be seen as a reaction against this tension. Their claim that nothing is shared with previous models signals an effort to restore that sense of unblemished exclusivity. Yet, starting from scratch involves risks and costs, and it remains to be seen whether this purity delivers practical advantages or simply a stronger marketing story. The real question may be less about parts and more about ownership and meaning. Matt Armstrong's rebuild turns a spotlight on who controls a car's life after the factory, the manufacturer or the owner. When a car's value is intertwined with restricted access to parts and repair knowledge, exclusivity also becomes a question of gatekeeping and control. This dynamic messes with the traditional notions of craftsmanship and freedom that car enthusiasts cherish. Bugatti's new Tourbillon sets a breathtaking standard of design and engineering, yet Matt Armstrong's rebuild reminds us that craftsmanship and passion can defy corporate boundaries. If you found this juxtaposition revealing, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into automotive stories that challenge what we think we know. Your thoughts on what defines value in hypercars are welcome in the comments below.